So here's what we got going on here. Obviously, I'm sitting in the Volvo 140. I'm sitting on top of a bench at what we call the borrow pit, and the borrow pit's where we get all our topsoil and fill dirt from. This morning we had 3 triaxles come in that needed some fill dirt. I got them loaded out real quick. I didn't really have time to get that filmed because those guys were on a mission to get to the job site. So I'm about halfway through the project we're working on, and we're just trying to get the borrow pit back in ship shape, if you will, for the summertime. So everything's ready to go for hauling dirt. You can kind of see in the background there's some standing water there. We got some drainage got away from us. And I've got drone shots coming up that'll show you a little bit better image of what we got going on. We also have what we call burnable debris. So any kind of wood from demolition jobs we've done in town, we'll bring out here to burn. It may have some paper and cardboard and that kind of thing mixed in as well. As far as non-burnables, so shingles, insulation, kind of plastics, that all gets trucked off in dumpsters from the job site itself. And any kind of tree clearing jobs we do in town, we haul that out here to burn as well. We're just trying to get everything cleaned up. I just about got this done for where I'm at, and then we're gonna hop down below and throw a few things on that brush pile and start getting the bottom cleaned up as well. Happy with the way the top of this bench looks. We still need to clean up down there some. So I got somebody made a comment the other day that this pillar right here is right in the middle of your shot. I know it is. I'm really sorry, but I got a problem in this cab. Everything in here, except for the pillar you're on, is either plastic or aluminum, and that's a magnetic mount, so it's a little bit of an issue. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to order myself one of those glass suction cup mounts I can put somewhere in here to get you a little bit better shots. But I do apologize about the end cap shot with that pillar being in the way. I'm doing my best. I just gotta figure out the best place to mount cameras on here. So we're down here throwing this pile together a little bit more, getting this side cleaned up. The thumb controls, if you're wondering, since we swapped them around, are really identical to the 120 now, which is super duper handy. Yeah, there. So we'll get some of this brush thrown on, and then watch it. That feller's getting squirrely on me. Let's get away from her. We'll get that some of this brush thrown on here, and then what we're going to do is we're going to work our way around the back side, try to get that cleaned up, and then up there, let me just grab you. Get worked around the backside, cleaned up here, so that's all ready for borrow pit work. And then we're going to take that bench we were just on up top and try to carry it on around to this edge. Here's a view from the other side. You remember the bench up top? We did a little work here, and this is what I'm talking about. That's where we just grabbed that brush from. Get up on this. That's where we just grabbed that pile of brush from and threw it up on there, so that's burning down. That's old, wet, dirty stuff. It do a lot of smaller, but with the track hoe, it's not that big a deal. So the next thing is kind of get this pile up and out of the way and pushed over, and then carry that bench on across. Like I said, you want to be able to beep, 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 beep your truck all the way back to there, and then we can sit there with the track hoe and load your way on out. Vroom, to the customer they go. You got it? Let's do it. I may have preemptively went on that side. I didn't realize that was all concrete there, so we're going to combine it with that concrete pile. So I got that concrete kind of combined over there and picked out a few more things. The only other thing, we just gotta see if we can adjust the camera real quick because we're starting to get out of frame. That's a little better. That's a little better. Now that we're back in frame, we'll get some more of this mud pushed off, and then eventually we're gonna get back on top of this bench and carry it out a little further. We're gonna hop back up here and get this bench carried on across. That's the goal. Tell you what I'd like to do. Maybe a little bit of drone. All right, so there's a little access road coming into the borrow pit. You can kind of see that wet spot in the corner there. We've got it opened up and draining in the right direction now, so it'll dry out over time. Here's what it looked like when we first got there that morning. There was no bench on top and it's still pretty sloppy and slimy. And we pan around a little bit further. So where the traco is sitting now is kind of where that little hump is right there. So there's no bench up there. Just kind of a mess. And a little bit further, you can see if we pan down, this is where all that brush was sitting when we first got there this morning. I know I don't have any footage when we first got there, but I had a few of these random pictures. Hopefully that kind of tells the story. The next thing is we're going to fill that hole in right there and try to carry this bench on across. See where this bench ends? That cut goes back around to those weeds. So we're going to kind of bridge this gap here, and we're going to try to get that bench cut wrapped around about maybe another 30 or 40 feet. This mess down here, Jerry will have to do with the dozer. I will say, I'm impressed with that blade. I really am. If you expect it to push like a bulldozer, you're gonna be disappointed. If you expect it to push like a track hoe with the blade, it's gonna exceed your expectations. So it's super excited real life Mike was trying to tell you there. That blade really came in handy today. This is only the second job I've used this Volvo 140 on. I used it on that other trenching job. If you haven't seen that video, you may want to check that out too. It's not too shabby. But this is the only other time I've really sat and swung dirt with it. And as far as getting this bench cut across here, I could kind of get the general shape as far as level left to right on the tracks with the bucket, and then you take that blade and just push it on across. It really, I mean, I can see where that's going to come in handy. I thought it was going to be kind of gimmicky. We'll use it to level up now and then, but it proved itself today, even with pushing that little slimy mud stuff off around the bottom side. I really like it. I'm glad Mike got it, and as much as I hate to admit it, I think he was right, but don't tell him. Don't tell him now. So typically what we've done in the past, if we're going to truck dirt out of the borrow pit, if it's just 1 or 2 loads, we'll just bring the skid steer in for the day, or sometimes the payloader's even sitting down there and we'll use the payloader to do it with. If it's going to be a big order and we have to contract out a trucking company, we got triaxles lined up, which we've done before, we'll send the dozer down, cut in a nice bench, get everything cleaned up and ready to go. Some people seem to think that every piece of equipment Mike owns is available to go at any given time. That's just not the case. Today we had the 140 available. The D4G is on a very important customer's job site right now. But look at that. Oh, he's going to find out he's right soon enough, but that blade is super handy. Okay, so what I'm doing here, you can see you got the bench sitting up top. You've seen the other clips where we've been using that blade to push that bench off, which has been working really well. We're basically digging out the slope of the pit so that we can carry the floor of the pit where the trucks will be. We can carry that over as close to the bench as possible, a little bit more than level, so that, you know, it still drains. So you still want it to drain, but you want it to be level enough that a truck can get up close to the bottom of that bench. The closer they get to that bench, the more comfortable it's going to be for the guy loading it out. We got that hole filled in, we got the slope dug out so it's level up to the bottom of the bench. We're going to make a few more passes with the blade just to carry this all the way out to the end so it's nice and level, or as level as we can get it with the Volvo 140 track on a blade. And then we're going to move down, clean a little bit of the slime windrolls off from when we were pushing down below, and we'll get up in the air with the drone and give you some aerial shots of what we ended up with. Also, stay tuned. There is an awesome barge load that went up the river the other day. It is a massive crane, and I got some pretty good footage of it, so stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss that. So here's what we ended up with at the end of the day. You can see that corner was the wet corner. We got it sloped going the right way. It's opened up so it'll dry out over time now. That's about where that hole is at that's filled in. You can see we got the bench carried all the way out. We will still have to get a dozer in here at some point because all of this area right here that's bare that wasn't planted last year, that's all topsoil. Jerry will get down here with the dozer, get that pushed up in a pile for us. And once that topsoil is pushed out of the way, whenever we're loading trucks on that bench, we can then reach over with the 140 or the 120, whatever's down there, and we can pull that fill dirt over to the same elevation as the bench and just kind of carry that shelf on across. It should be a pretty good setup for a while. It was just some much overdue maintenance on the borrow pit we needed to get done for the equipment we had and for the operator we had. It didn't turn out too bad. Now, I have something coming up I haven't done in a while. It's a comments and concerns segment. I think it's pretty funny. I hope you guys enjoy it too. It's regarding the O-ring incident the other day. We also have an awesome barge load I was telling you about going up the river to finish the whole thing off. Here's a quick shot of the farmland that surrounds this area and a little bit of the Ohio River for you. Alright guys, welcome to Comments and Concerns. It's been a while since I've done a segment, but I tell you what, I feel like this one's worth doing. The other day, we changed this hydraulic line, and there were a lot of comments on this hydraulic line, specifically that O-ring. Now, here's the thing about putting in an O-ring on a machine that runs the kind of pressure that these machines run. If it's wrong, it's going to leak instantaneously, and it did. If you watch the entire video, at the end of the video, you'll see that I made the comment, we have one line leaking. You guessed it, it's the one I put the O-ring in wrong on. Now, we did get it fixed. You know what we did? We took the line off, we put a new O-ring in. Sure, it cost $2.3 million. Volvo 140. Yeah, the O-ring. Oh, that seems a little steep. And sure, it took 7 days. You got any big plans for Valentine's Day tomorrow? But we ran it all day today, and no leaks, because it's right this time. Alright, so that was a little ridiculous, but I had fun making it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the little segment. It's been a while since I've done one, but every now and then you make a mistake that gets so many comments, you just feel like you need to address it so everybody knows that it worked out okay, and I got a lot of comments on that O-ring. To everybody that noticed the O-ring was put in wrong and left me a comment about it, I appreciate it. Everybody was super nice and polite about it. Nobody was rude about it, and that says a lot about the kind of little YouTube family we got going on. I love all the comments you bring. I love all the jokes you guys make. I have a lot of fun cutting up with y'all, so keep the stuff coming. Speaking of stuff coming, we got a special tow coming upriver here. This is operated by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. It's got a crane on that front barge, and then it's got the towboat, the J.C. Thomas, behind it. I got a lot of good stats on it because they host all their information on their website, and I also got a really good close-up shot with the drone coming up right about now.